and welcome to today's webinar, where the focus is all around custom software development and how it can take your business to the next level. My name is Stephanie Bowes, and I'm the International Business Manager here at the Greater Birmingham Chambers of Commerce. And we're delighted to be supporting the webinar today on behalf of CCA Europe and CodeWave. Okay, so before we introduce our panelists today, and I introduce the first speaker, who is also our co-host for today, I just wanted to run through a very quick update on all things happening here at the Chamber. You may or may not already know, we've been supporting a campaign, our hashtag Keep Business Moving campaign, since the start of the pandemic. And this was really set up to continue to support businesses going forward as we face difficult times. Obviously, you can get involved. You may know other people that might want to get involved. You can see on our website, we have a full range of activity going on, which ranges from informative webinars such as today. We can support you with any lobbying and campaigning activity. We'd also like to hear of your success stories now that we're living in this new virtual way of working. But please do get in touch if you require any support or know of anyone that could do with the support. If you are lost on some of our weekday evenings going forward, we are still hosting our awards celebrations, and our next one will be Solihull Awards happening next Thursday at 7 p.m. And again, if you would like to get involved, whether this is sponsorship or just attend, please do get in touch with us via the website. And after the Solihull Awards, we have launched our Asian Business Chamber of Commerce Awards, which is happening late in November. So without further ado, I'm now going to hand over to Mr. Michael Dębinski, who is part of the British Polish Chambers of Commerce, and he's going to guide us through today's session. Over to you, Michael. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. We want to talk today about custom software development in Poland. We can see that this is a big trend. Here in Poland, among our members, we have a number of FTSE 100 companies who have set up their tech hubs in Poland because of the quality of the people. We have seen over the years, in the 30 years since Poland transformed into a free market economy, in the 16 years since it joined the European Union, that the Polish economy has been accelerating leaps and bounds with until the second quarter of this year, not a single quarter of negative GDP growth. In recent years, much of this has been driven by advanced business services. It started off as just simple outsourcing of invoices and receipts and basic bookkeeping. But now it's really gone up that value added ladder into the realms of knowledge process outsourcing, outsourcing of innovation. We can see that there are two avenues here, two strategies that UK companies can adopt. The UK, as we know, is facing a massive shortage of IT workers. I heard last week from the CEO of a company that has moved its IT processes to Poland, that the UK is short of somewhere around 800,000, 900,000 IT workers. Now, it doesn't mean that Poland is full of them. Poland also has shortages of IT staff, but the staff is easier to find, more plentiful, and crucially, there is quality. Graham Fell, CEO of FlexDev, said that moving his operations to Poland is not just about saving costs, it's about finding the quality of people. And we're hearing this story right across the board, whether we're talking to UK companies who've set up hubs in Poland, or UK companies who are outsourcing their innovation processes, that custom software development, where you're not just telling a developer to go away and write you a couple of thousand lines of code. You're discussing with them a business critical issue that needs to be sorted out. We can see at the moment that everyone is facing the same challenges. What COVID has brought about, according to PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, is a 10-year acceleration in many of the trends that we've already been seeing, mainly in the area of tech. So we can see fintech, health tech, e-commerce absolutely leaping forward incredibly quickly in the space of the last 7 or 8 months. So every single company in the UK, whatever they're doing, needs some tech. And the question is where to find it, where to look for it. One of the things, again, this is something that PwC's head of outsourcing strategy has said, that lockdown has proven that some countries are better at shared services than others. Not wishing to name names, but he was saying that Poland has come out extremely well. People are perfectly happy working from home. They can work from home. They have the infrastructure, the IT infrastructure. They have the space to do it from. Other countries, in particular Asian countries that are known for their outsourcing, have not done so well. So there's a lot happening in Poland at the moment. And what we want to talk about today, we want to show you some case studies. We want to introduce you to some really cutting edge Polish tech companies to show you what can be achieved in Poland, and also to talk about the practical difficulties, in particular around those cultural differences, talking to IT directors from the UK who've done business in this sphere in Poland. They're saying that Polish IT guys are really, really good, but they don't tend to sell themselves. There's not that razzmatazz that you get with an American or an Indian IT company that does tend to overpromise and underdeliver. Poles are very thoughtful. They can tend to be introverted. It's quite difficult to make those initial connections. But once you've done that, things just move on very quickly. So we want to talk about the potential problems that there may be in getting started. But above all, what this day is about is just introducing you to the notion that you can outsource very high value added processes to Poland. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Jacek Nowak, who is the CEO of CCA Europe, right at the cutting edge there in fintech. So over to you, Jacek. Maybe you'd like to do your presentation. Unmute, Jacek, unmute.
Hello, everyone. I'm extremely grateful to the Chamber for giving me the opportunity to actually talk to you today. You know, earlier when I was preparing for this session, people often ask me if I'm stressed. I said, no, not at all. I'm not stressed. Talking to the British people, and they're so polite. Even if it's a disaster, they won't tell me. And to give you why I thought that, I'm going to tell you a true story from my past. When I was working in the UK in 2004, we've been implementing one of the first online banks in the UK in Reading, and we've reached an extremely important milestone in the project, and the project team took us out, and the bank took us out to this very, very fancy restaurant, and they started to, we started ordering. The restaurant was very, very upscale, and everybody was kind of shy, and I look at the menu, and one of the dishes that they had there was a pheasant, and my English wasn't so good at that moment, so I really wanted to try. So when the waiter came and asked, "What would you like?" I said, "I'd like a peasant, please." And then he didn't even blink. He didn't even smile. He didn't even blink. He went off with the order. Of course, the team, especially the British part of the team, they bursted in laugh, and they explained me the mistake I made. I got the order, but we made the jokes within the team, but outside, the waiter just didn't react. Brought me the order, and he just said, "Of course, sir." Brought me the order, and actually I was lucky enough to eat the pheasant instead of a peasant. So, but that story left a very important landmark in my mind. There is a certain amount of errors that you are really allowed to make, and once you learn from them, people are patient in the UK, and they are really supportive, and that actually led me to a thought that if I ever want to expand out of Poland, the country that I will expand to is going to be UK. And that's why I'm here talking to you today. We've already made that step. We've expanded to the UK. We actually started operating in the UK, and I'd like today to introduce the company to you, to actually share our experience and our story to you, to see whether sometime in the future we're going to be a fit, and we could do some business here together. Can we have the next slide, please? So the company that I do lead for the last 16 years, the 15 plus is here. The exact number is 16. Is a company that specializes in finance sector, banking and finance. This is where we grew up from. This is where we started, and this is where we continued. A very nice sector, but a very, very strict in terms of the quality that Michael was already referring to. Because once you deliver software to the banking, you really have to make it right, and you really have to make sure that that software will work from the very first time it is put into the production. 30 people plus. This is also something that we. This is the size of the company. But you can ask yourself whether you can do big projects with 30 people. With 30 people, probably not, but with the idea that we have in terms of the scalability, you can. We are into this smart scaling model where we are part of the very big software house association back in Poland. Over 100 software houses in this association, more than 10,000 people, 10,000 employees working for those companies. So whenever we need to expand to actually scale to a bigger project that requires specialists, we have developed within the association those procedures where we can easily stuff to actually make the project smooth and run. And that's something also new that is worth noticing in the market, that instead of working with huge organizations that probably are less cost effective, you may also work with smaller organizations that do have the scaling possibilities in the background, and they can grow to the demand of the project rather than being big from the start. Can we have the next slide, please? So what do we actually do for banking and finance? We grew up from core banking projects, meaning we did actually implement the heart of the systems in the bank. implemented it, but also enhanced, also added new products, new banking products. Like if the bank needed a new type of mortgage, they gave us the specification and we knew how to implement it within the system architecture. And system architecture is not just the core banking system, not anymore. It's also the middleware where you need to provide the services. It's also the front-end applications and all satellite applications that actually make that product happen and make the customers use the product. So we're also developing those. We're also working with the new technologies to provide applications that can be delivered to the end customers of the bank. Because we're working with the banks, because we're working with financial institutions, that puts a very rigid and strict pace into the way we are developing applications. We need to make them right. We need to make sure that they work from the very first time that we run them. And that's why through those 16 years, we developed procedures of testing them internally before we had them over to the bank. Those procedures were actually good enough for us to actually start putting the testing services out to the market. And those testing services are also quite a success at this moment. So we're actually able to take the work that somebody else, some other vendor delivers to the financial institution and put our quality stamp on them. So we study the specs, we understand the software that somebody else delivered, and because of our knowledge of banking, because of our knowledge of architecture of the bank, we are also able to tell which parts, which particular functionalities, which particular parts of the architecture needs to be tested, because that new software will have impact. And then we can execute the tests. And of course, everybody's now talking about the cloud solutions, and it's important for the banks now to go out and make those decisions. Which applications are so crucial to them that they need to make ready for the cloud, to migrate them to the cloud? Because as we see the banking horizon today, banks, they don't have any other way of working. They have to migrate to the cloud, and the core systems will be migrated soon to the cloud. The other satellite applications have to follow. It's a strategic decision: which applications should we prepare at this moment to be migrated to the cloud when the core is ready. We have next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so who do we work with in the past? Our very loyal and permanent clients are the two top clients on the slide is ING. We actually started working with ING in the UK in 2004 when they were still here implementing the ING Direct Bank, the first online bank in the UK. In 2007, they were bought out by Barclays, but we actually helped them implement. We work with them now in many other European countries: France, Italy, Romania, and the other client that is very loyal and for a long time working with us is Crédit Agricole. This is where we also implement a lot of projects in various domains of banking, whether this is customer experience, or this is core banking, or this is corporate banking. From the UK examples, we also have Scottish Widows, and we have some very, very distant examples like Vietnam Bank. That was an implementation that took 5 years of our lives in Vietnam. And First Citizens banks in Trinidad and Tobago, Tisco in Thailand. So we are truly international. we've worked with international clients, and we understand many cultures, and we understand also how to work with clients that are not just encapsulated in our own culture. I encourage you to take a look at our profile on Clutch, if you know Clutch. Clutch is the platform for client recommendations. Clients leave their recommendations there. In the right low corner on the slide, you can see the recommendation from ING. So you can take a look there and see how clients see working with us. We have next slide, please. Next slide, please. And last but not least, one of our products, the latest in our portfolio, Paris, the latest, but also the one that we are quite proud of. It's a software that I'm going to very, very briefly explain on an example. Just imagine a data flow between two applications that you have currently within your architecture. And then another application that is not interfering with that flow, but sits there, listens to that flow, and can react on those messages that have some words that trigger that trigger it. And then if you take an example of a card system, where the card system talks to the bank to make the transaction, and you actually want to react to that transaction, but you actually don't want to interfere with the timings of that transaction, because it's crucial that the purchase of the goods is not interfered, right? So that's what this application does. It will sit there and listen to that conversation between the bank card system and the bank system. And based on those conversations, it can actually spin off other actions. You can, based on that transaction, you can send a message to customer phone, you can send a text message to the phone, you can actually go and calculate the bonus that you want to give to the customer, because this is 10,000 transactions in the month. But all this is going to be triggered in the real time. So whenever that transaction happens, without interfering that transaction itself. So that's something that, and that's just an example of how it works. Name any two different systems that exchange messages, and you can actually think of spinning off new values from that data flow by communicating to some other communications. Like, for example, maybe you would like to send a survey to the customer based on specific actions. Okay, I know my time is already off, so the last slide, please, where I'm leaving you with my details, and I ask you to reach out with questions. Thank you very much for your attention, and passing to the next. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jacek Nowak. Now I'd like to introduce to you Andrew Wytyczak-Partyka, CEO of CodeWave, a company that does web development. And again, you'll see some very well-known references and clients that CodeWave work for. Andrew.
Thank you, Michael. So again, thank you for having me here and giving me the opportunity to speak to the audience here. I'm really excited that we will be able to promote ourselves and connect with new customers in the UK. Hopefully there will be some interesting relationships between our businesses coming from that. So I'm the CEO of CodeWave, and we are dealing with software development for the cloud. Could you please go to the next one? We have been in the market since 2008 officially. However, some of our accounts predate that time, and actually have been brought to the company by myself from my early days of consulting. And we focus on bespoke software development, and this is something that we have built our business around, and from that emerged several lines of our business that as it is today. We currently focus on our customer base in the European Union. We also have an office in the US. And if you could move to the next one, please. What really sets us apart from our competition, and what is my biggest pride, I think, is our team and our track record. So the team is based on a number of experienced engineers who have been, some of them have been with us since the beginning of the company. The average tenure is over 6 years, which is, you might know, quite impressive for a software company where people really tend to jump from one position to the other. We have something that makes these guys stay with us for longer. And so we have a similar pattern we have with our customers. We tend to form long-term relationships, and this is really something that I'm extremely happy about, and that's my second pride in this company. So the team that has been able to deliver successful projects for a number of businesses, and I would say ones with a very highly set bars, as you will see in a moment. And yet still the quality and the satisfaction, the quality of work we deliver and the satisfaction of our customers, I believe we were able to maintain that throughout that time. And this is shown in constantly high marks in our customer satisfaction surveys, and pretty much 100% willingness to refer ratio. So like I said, the core of what we do is bespoke software development, and this is really looking for and meeting our customers' needs. And this is what my employees put in front, and that's first and foremost. It always comes first, the need of our customer, and it gives us the results that we want to achieve and that our customers are looking for. And it also resonates pretty well with our employees. They really want to do it that way, and they want to be candid with the customer. They want to be direct. They want to deliver value, and maybe that's why they stay with us, and our customers do as well. The other part I wanted to mention here is we actually formed several important relationships with partners like Amazon Web Services, which is a provider of cloud-based solutions, which we heavily use. And it's a perfect solution, as a perfect match for the kind of services that we do, where we are focused on delivering systems that offer high performance, that offer business continuity, security, and that can scale if a company needs to scale up or scale down if things don't go that well for our customer. So partnership with a cloud provider is a perfect choice, I believe, for that. And through our partnership, we can also offer some pretty good deals with the cloud providers. So you can look for some instant benefits by using us. We've recently come to sign a framework agreement with the Crown Commercial Services, and we're a supplier in the G-Cloud 12 framework, so we can also work with us as a public sector company in the UK. You can easily utilize our services around the cloud. So if you're looking for cloud migration or for improving your projects that are based in the cloud, you can find us in the digital marketplace, and we can offer help in there through that framework. Next one, please. And I mentioned we have a fairly large number of customers with high expectations. So as you might see, there's a number of brands that you are familiar with, I'm sure, and you use their products or know their brands and you actually come across them every day. I can assure you that these customers are the happy ones, and I can share the references with for the projects that we did for them. And like I said, most of them are the ones that we formed a long-term relationship with, and we've been providing them services for a number of years now. Next one, please. So just to quickly go through the areas where we can support you. Like I mentioned, we grew from bespoke system development and bespoke software, where this starts is back in the early 2000s, where when we really, it was myself back then acting as a consultant or a contractor, and just building a small team working for Tesco. We're going to get to that project in a moment, but from that time, this was like cornerstone of our company, and so a foundation of many of the skills that we currently use. And with that project and more that were coming, we were expanding our skill set, our competences, and we knew that we will have to support these systems that we built. So we expanded our team to provide support for architecture, for infrastructure. We also had to take care of many performance-related projects, and many clients come to us just for that, for web performance optimization, or for auditing their existing systems and optimizing them in terms of performance, because it's pretty well known these days that every second a system on the web loads is actually a decrease in the revenue. So so some of our customers are coming to us actually for that particular one. And for the last couple of years, we've also been gaining competence in machine learning and data science, which is something really exciting. And it's amazing to see how we can put machines to life almost with the number of examples shown to them. They are picking it up and learning how to infer and draw conclusions from what we can actually tell them that can happen. And if we go next, I will get into a couple of stories of customer success. So next one, please. And next one. So one of the examples is a digital agency, a creative agency that came to us. It was DDB&tribal, an agency, and actually a worldwide one, but they came. It was the New York branch that came to us, and they were tasked with a almost what seemed to be an impossible project, a build of a website that was supposed to be delivered in 2.5 months' time since they contacted us, and a very complex one too, because it was done for a government agency in California, and the idea was that California was then beginning to promote the green energy and how to properly use the energy and how to conserve the energy and you know how to actually help the environment. As you might know, Californians are extremely into that with their wildfires, with their droughts. They are really mindful of the environment, and the government was actually helping that too at that time, and they still are. So they went on and they wanted to get a campaign running, and a web part of that campaign was a system that was supposed to work for many nationalities located in California. So it had to be multilingual and supported Chinese, Korean, Spanish, and English, and had to also be available for people with disabilities, so people who have visual impairment or who are simply blind. And you might imagine that with that task to build that site in such short time, it was impossible to find a vendor in the US that would actually deliver, like a domestic vendor that would deliver that project at that time. Hopefully, thankfully, the agency had already known us for some other projects, and they reached out, and we were able to deliver that. And in a couple of weeks, we delivered a system that they could already start doing work on. So they could start working on the content for the website, which was another large part of the project. There was a lot of content produced for all the languages and all the localizations. And this was based on our in-house, our proprietary solution content management platform that we are still selling. And then we tailored all the other to all the other requirements. We tailored that solution and provided additional development. And actually, finally, the project went live as planned. And we even got a nomination to a Webby Award, which is, as some of you might know, a kind of a web Oscar. So that was a government project that we've built with DDB&tribal. Next one, please. Yeah, so here's one of our friends from the agency. Left us a very positive note about the project. And next one, please. And this is yet another client that you are probably so familiar with. So Tesco is actually the company that was the cornerstone of our business, the one where we started working with, the first one where the team formed and where some of our systems have been developed at the beginning. And their needs were so high in the early 2000s. And without the cloud, without Amazon, without so many things that we are using these days, this is a really daunting task to deliver the project and keep it running. And we've been actually supporting the evolution of Tesco's website for almost 18 years. And it was really a great endeavor. And along the way, we've also built a number of other solutions for them, including a CRM system or a mass mailing system. And I think some of these systems have really made a difference in the internet as it was back in that day. Next one, please. Yeah, I'm going to leave that with you because these materials are going to be shared and distributed, so you can read through that. If you could please skip to the next one. It's actually a pretty exciting project, one of the most recent ones. We worked with a biomedical startup called BioAvli, and their idea was that they found a technology, or they invented a technology and patented it to make images of bacterial colonies. And they had the idea that with these images, they will be able to identify what is a particular strain of bacteria that is growing, or that was in the sample that was taken. And their focus is on the cosmetics industry. So as you know, the cosmetics industry would require every batch of the products to be tested for bacteria. And it actually takes a lot of time and money for them to run these tests. And BioAvli's device is an answer that helps reduce the time and costs involved with testing inside that production line of cosmetics. So they came to us after having an unsuccessful attempt with another vendor, and a successful attempt at building a machine learning system to identify the bacteria species from the images coming out of their device. And we were able to help them. And after just 4 weeks, we were able to improve their results by 30%. So what they started with was roughly 55% correctly identified bacteria, which is really pretty poor. And we got to 85 within that 4 weeks time. And then it took the next 6 months to actually improve that even further and reach the KPIs that their investors set for them, which was 98% of correctly identified bacteria. And this might not seem like perfect, because it's not perfect, but then just think about it. It's 2 errors in 100 tests. So I would say that a human rarely does that well, and the machine rarely does that well either. So I think that was a really big success, and part of it was, a great part of it was actually because they did a tremendous work of collecting almost 300,000 images of the bacteria colonies. That from these images, we were able to actually train a machine learning model and implement that in their system. And that allowed them to go to a third-party lab for validation. They passed that. They got another round of financing, and they're now happily trying to sell that to more customers. So that was a really exciting project, and something I was really keen to see happen in our company. So next one, please. Yeah, and another vote of trust and a happy client putting his word. So I think that's the last one. Just some names for reference if you would like to contact some of our colleagues that we've worked with on some of these projects. And the final slide, please. So if you'd like to discuss any of your ideas or projects, please drop us an email. There's a phone number at the first slide as well. Or feel free to contact me via LinkedIn, and I'm always open to discussing some opportunities. So thanks, I'm gonna leave you with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very impressive. Always go to the logo page. It's good advice, and impress people with the testimonials from your large and happy clients. Now we'd like to move on to the panel discussion. We have a further 5 top Polish IT guys in the panel. I'd like to start off by asking Piotr Sawiński from Fabres about e-commerce solutions. We have seen what COVID has done to e-commerce in the UK. At the end of February, roughly 1 in 5 products bought by British consumers, 1/5 of everything bought by British consumers was bought online. By the end of May, it had gone up to 1/3. It was 34%. In an incredible acceleration of something that's been happening in the UK for a number of years now. So Piotr Sawiński, can you give us your thoughts, please, about robust e-commerce solutions, about what it is that e-commerce needs from the software development point of view?
Thanks, Michael, for the introduction. I'm really happy that I can be here. So, and thanks for the question. So, Fabres is a nearshore software development company. Work from home, virtual meetings, working with remote customers were our daily bread well before the epidemic. Yeah, so some of the companies, they actually had to very quickly learn how to do that, how to spread the teams, how to set up the infrastructure. And for us, it was actually a standard delivery model. So of course, we put a lot of effort in team building when we start a relationship with a new customer. In the past, we've been traveling to new customer locations at every product milestone, for example, right? But we now realize that actually it doesn't really matter. Yeah? We can actually do it without the travel. We've been able to acquire new customers without actually meeting them physically. So we are used to work with our colleagues via remote tools. And as for servicing the e-commerce vertical, we've seen that e-commerce industry actually still is a very big beneficiary of the current situation. Yeah, we had some small customers who basically were not able to absorb the growth. Yeah, and we had to actually help them to grow very, very quickly. Yeah, we had, for example, a pharmacy, an online pharmacy somewhere in Norway, for whom we had to invent a completely new architecture based on microservices, for example, to be able to sustain, to survive the overloads of the traffic, right? So we also see that many customers actually have more budget to invest in e-commerce. So they ask us to provide quickly new features, like new payment system integrations, customer journey, working on checkout systems. So all that we are able to do relatively quickly, building actually new teams, because we've been busy with some standard customers, and now those long-term customers, they actually ask us to boost their teams. So on one side we have to quickly grow, and on the other side we have to service those I would say crazy customers who basically require for more. So we have customers in electronics, in pharmacy, cosmetics, wellness, even wellness, we could say that suffered a lot. We have actually, we are happy to have customers who are basically still investing in that and preparing for removal of the restrictions. So I would say this is the intro, and waiting for new questions.
Thanks very much. Now I'd like to move on to Christoph Gonchard from Interactive Engineering. We've heard a lot about outsourcing, about the notion of going full remote, that you don't have to be sitting in Solihull or Coventry to be doing IT for a company in Birmingham. Can you tell us a bit about the values and the benefits of your outsourcing model?
Yes, so hello everyone, also very pleased to be able to take part in this meeting. Just one fix from my side, it's iterative engineering, not interactive engineering, but not to worry. So what are the key benefits and values which a software house should put into the relation with the client? I think the first thing and the foremost is trust. So it is super important for the clients to be able to trust software house during the relationship. And the trust is not only about, and this is like, multi-level, I would say. So it's about trusting the software house to be able to deliver given technical knowledge and experience, but also to be able to trust them in terms of being able to deliver on time and being able to deliver the required values.
Is it harder to build trust in a model where you can't meet face to face so easily?
It depends. Definitely, the hardest bit is to actually to gain the trust at the beginning. So when you're meeting face to face, it's probably much easier to get this good vibe and to speak about different things before you are actually getting to the business side. But on the other hand, if the software house or if the organization is capable of doing the work and is also capable of giving you benefits like reduction of time or the costs of delivering the projects, I think then this is going pretty well. This can go pretty well for both sides, because the most important is that the both sides are gaining a value from this relationship, right? Another, I think, big benefit which companies could take from having relationship with software houses is being able to consult and choose proper approach for certain challenges. So very often a company may have an idea or a problem which they're not sure how to approach, and it's not clear for them either from technical point of view or even from conceptual point of view how to start working on certain challenge or idea they might have. And it's probably a good idea in many cases to not spend time on gaining those experiences themselves, but rather focus on the domain they are aware of, and let software houses, so basically the experts from delivering bespoke software, to help them out and kind of lead them in the process and provide this knowledge upfront. So basically, again, we are not wasting time on things which are not necessarily the domain you don't know, right? So that's probably one thing. And I would say there is a last thing which had been mentioned already. So scaling up. Very often the companies are like the e-commerce now, seeing a high increase in the demand for their services, and this is involving basically providing more workforce to deliver those, right? And a relation with a software house could be help in that area as well. So basically you can quickly scale up your team or scale up certain technology area which you need to basically work on, and which is vital for providing the services further.
Okay, thank you very much, Krzysztof. I'd like to take the same thread, the same idea further with Marcin Nowak, looking at outsourcing, about the creation of a successful IT system. What are the factors behind the competitiveness that is required to build that successful IT system for a client at a distance when you're outsourcing? Marcin Nowak from Bespoke.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for this question. I'm from Decerto. Decerto is a software company that does software mainly for insurance and finance. And we are doing software for such brands as Allianz, Generali, Aegon, Nationale-Nederlanden, to name few. And what can I say? Custom software is an important factor to be one step ahead of your competition, but it's only the first step. I think there are two important factors, in fact. The first one is communication. Communication has to be on the highest level, and everyone from project manager to tester and the people on the business side, they have to understand why we are doing this project, what is our goal. And it's always good to understand what could be our next goal to have optimal architecture. And I see projects where people are doing tasks one by one with no big picture in mind. And these projects sometimes lead to, let's say, successful deployment. But does this software solve business problem? I would say that they help, but does not solve. So the first factor is communication. And the second factor, I would say it's agile software. It's not, in my opinion, not agile way of working. Of course, it's always important, but agile software, what I have in mind, that software that you can quickly adapt to the changing way of doing business. One example is to employ a business rules engine and move power of doing changes to business people. So you can have very short time to market. And we are in fact doing such kind of software with a lot of success. And there are always, as usual, pitfalls of doing this. And I can talk for the whole meeting about this, but we are short on time. So if somebody is interested, just ask me on LinkedIn. And
some very good points there, Marcin. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to move on to an area which we've just gently touched on. We've talked a lot about e-commerce and about fintech, but one branch of IT that's really booming right now is health tech. Seen incredible acceleration in the last few months. Krzysztof Korbel from the firm Vimanet. Is Krzysztof there?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit, please, about the perspective from health tech? What you're seeing, is the demand overwhelming you? How are you coping in these times?
Yeah, hello everyone, and thank you for the invitation. So I'm Krzysztof Korbel. I'm a CEO and founder of Vimanet, a Polish-based software development and consultancy company. So as you mentioned, the healthcare is all over the place now, yeah, because during the time of pandemic, I think technology helps a lot. Yeah. So maybe I will just tell a few words about the company, because the company was founded in 2007, which is 13 years now. We are still a boutique software development company, 30 engineers. And we focus on building a bespoke software. So, but for the past few years, actually before COVID, we specialized in health tech and healthcare solutions. Yeah, because the healthcare sector was for many years was always an early adopter of different innovative technologies. And things like Internet of Things, software solutions, artificial intelligence, machine learning are actually a key elements in digitalization of healthcare sector. Especially today in the wake of COVID-19, yeah, technology can help to prevent the spread of the virus and also improve the people's safety. And I think we see a lot of examples all over. You know, we experience that ourselves as well on a daily basis. But maybe I will tell about two cases that we actually help the clients with. These are examples of two products that we built for the clients. They were not intended to be a COVID fight tools, but actually the fact that they were custom based, built, helped to quickly change them and turn them into tools that also help to fight the COVID spread. So. So the first story is a company called Saninaj. It's a Denmark scale up. They actually were with their platform and solution. They were trying to solve the problem of healthcare associated infections in the hospitals. Because as some of you may know, that hand hygiene compliance in hospitals is a very important thing, but maybe not at the highest levels, and it's a problem all over the world. And there's many factors related. That is primarily it's personal that is not you know, executing or following the guidelines given by the hygiene departments. But people think they actually do. So that is also a kind of a leading and measuring and monitoring issue at the hospital. But unfortunately, even if the staff is saying that they are compliant 100% of time with the hand hygiene regulations, the numbers are different. Yeah, so I can give you because it's a Danish company. In Denmark only, it's 60,000 patients that actually acquire healthcare associated infections every year, which is a tremendous number. Yeah, and especially if you take into account that these infections even happen on oncology patients, then it's, you know, with a weakened immune system, that it's a real life threat. Yeah, so actually the system that reduces this number of infections saves lives directly almost. Yeah. So there was a need for this type of platform, and this company came up with an idea of building a system that is a combination of a software, of a bespoke software, and some sensors, so Internet of Things, because everything is connected to the internet, and all the data is processed in the cloud. So we created that platform for this client. So the way it works is that every staff member is equipped with the badge, with a sensor, and when they enter the room with a patient, the regulations say they should sanitize their hands in the alcohol disposer, and these alcohol disposers are also equipped with the sensor. And it measures if it was actually used, and also measures a proximity. Yeah, so if they actually approach the device, and then they go to the patient's bed, and the patient's bed is also equipped with the sensor. So the system is able to track whether the medical staff approach the bed first and then sanitize their hands, or they sanitize their hands first and they approaches the bed. It's not on a personal level, yeah, because that would not be accepted. But at least the hospital can measure that, okay, entire shift or a department in a hospital is compliant and how much it's compliant with the regulation, because the regulation says it should be when they enter the room, they should sanitize their hands. When they leave the room, they should sanitize their hands. And obviously they should sanitize their hands when they leave the bathroom, for instance, which was not the case in a high percentage, which is very surprising for hospital environment. Yeah, yeah. So if if you don't measure things, you don't realize how bad it could be. Yeah, and that's why we have they have 60,000 infections in Denmark, and I think it's probably the percentage is probably same in every Western country or Eastern country, and probably even worse in Eastern countries. Yeah. So the results are actually proven that the system was used in 2 hospitals in Denmark for 1 year, and they measured 64% reduction on infections, which is a very high number. So it still evolves. It learns. Also the clients learn how to use the numbers, how to measure things, how to improve the compliance. So it's really gaining interest of many hospitals, also in Germany and UK as well. And when the COVID came, actually this system is also, it was easy to convert it into a kind of a tracking system. So it can track the contact between patient and medical staff. So if they notice someone was infected, they can track the who actually contacted with that person and when it happened. And also all this data that is collected by the system can be used by machine learning algorithms for some kind of a predictive forecasting that there could be a spread of a virus in this area and so on. So that's many aspects of that system. I said it also, even though it was not intended to be a COVID fight tool, then it actually is, because the hospital infections, that actually includes viruses as well. So it was like kind of a built-in into the platform. And we as a team in Krakow, we were working with this client. It's been 3 years now since very beginning, and we just created this platform, created a web application for the hospitals, for the back office people as well, a mobile application for provisioning new hospitals, and also and all of this and communication between all the sensors and devices, all of it is actually processed in the Microsoft Azure cloud. Because we are a Microsoft specialist, I would say, and work with Microsoft technologies. So that was the first case, and the second is a client from London. And it's a startup that exists like for 2 years in the market. We work with them also from the very beginning. They approached to us with just an idea of building a new software. And this month, just a few days ago, they were listed on as a top 10 telehealth companies in the UK. So a big success. They also won a tender for a Scottish hospital. So this platform will be implemented in all the Scottish hospitals in the coming year. So a very small organization, just a couple of people, with all the IT on our side, a very successful company. So they are called MD Consent, which stands for medical consents. And this solution actually focuses on delivering something what is called informed consent to patients. Yeah, because the informed consent is a base for, as they say, for effective and efficient healthcare. But the question is, if because it's some people say, okay, it's just signing a paper, yeah. But that's actually not about it. That the fact that all this process of informed consent was reduced to just signing a paper almost was a big issue. Because as you all know, before you get any treatment at a clinic or a hospital, it's both a legal obligation and also ethical obligation of the healthcare professional to provide the patient with all the appropriate information about the treatment, how it will go, what could be the consequences, and that is actually called informed consent. Yeah. So this traditionally, this information, as you know, as probably most of you experience, looks like this. You go to a doctor, they tell you something, you either understand or not, and they give you the paper to sign. You agree to that, and then you sign it. Yeah, you trust that it's that everything is okay. But that process actually leads to many problems, both for private clinics because they can be sued if you didn't understand that, and for you as a patient because you are not fully aware of the consequences of that treatment. So the idea on this for this platform is that it provides online all the materials, and it engages also the patients to watch the videos, to listen to some recordings, watch the graphics and read. So all this sometimes very complicated legal and medical documents are explained in a way that is really understandable for the patient. And also the platform monitors, how much you spent on this, if you actually read this or not, and so on. So it's so the end goal is that you actually understand what you sign. Yeah. And then
okay, Krzysztof, I'll have to leave it there to move on. Time's running.
Okay, so I just quickly sum up. Yeah, so it's sorry, yeah, probably I didn't measure how much it takes, but it's these are examples of very interesting stories of how you can electronically move the many different healthcare processes and help the patients and in general improve the contribute to human.
All right, so thank you very much, Krzysztof. I'd like to now turn to our last panelist, Artur Płoneczka, Fire Up Software. Really to round up something that we've been talking about all the time, which is about collaboration between someone who's got a business problem and an IT company who's there to solve it. In particular, outsourcing, doing this remotely, full remote, at a distance. What are the three things that a customer should pay attention to when they're collaborating with an outsourcing software company?
Yeah, so hello everyone, and yeah, I'm very also happy to be here and meet you all. A really great pleasure to talk a bit about that. And I'm actually going to repeat some of the things that my previous colleagues have told. And I think it's good because in some way, we know as a software development companies, we think the same way. And I can also see that we all have, client first approach, which is, very happy to me. I'm just going to give some of the insights from my side and from my company. So to answer this question, I'm going to first introduce myself. I'm Arthur, Business Development Manager here at FireUp Pro. It's an 80 people software house based in southern of Poland, and it's Rybnik to be exact. And as a matter of fact, FireUp, our company, actually started with its own product for transportation industry. It's a transportation management system. It's still on the market, having really great results. But the reason why I'm telling this is because this experience of creating and launching, it's your own product really helped us to join the software development market. So we obviously started with providing our development teams to transportation and logistic companies at first, but currently, as Krzysztof mentioned here, we also providing our development teams to healthcare. One of the clients is in Austria, My Sugar, and finances like Trans.eu and our Action. And we've been doing this for over almost 10 years, and we observed three things that clients really look for when it comes to finding the right vendor. And it's basically the time when the companies have to think whether they should build their own internal, software team, IT team, or they could, or they should choose or look for someone, someone with as an external development agency, for example. So we really found out that those are the three things, which is trust, as was mentioned here before, experience and know-how. And, we always try to ask ourselves those questions in those three areas in order to know if we can build long-term partnerships. So when it is for trust, we need to know, or we know that if we want our clients to trust, what we need to do in order for maintain that. So we found out that really have to build culture of transparency, of communication, that was also mentioned here, and feedback. And we use all the tools in terms of project management, in terms of, you know, tools to communicate remotely, to really know our clients, what we do, how we do, and when we are going to deliver things that we claim together. So it allows us to be open for conversation and feedback. And, you know, really what is our approach currently at company is that we also have product owner from the client side that is actually a part of our team, because we don't want our clients to be, you know, somewhere far away from the project. We actually want them to be together with us, building this together. And also, yeah, experience. It's also very important key, because we are the one to make those decisions, right? So that's why we always look when it comes to sharing our experience. We understand that technology should always be a part of business, not the other way around. So we also take care of our recruitment processes to deliver right people to the development, as well as take care of knowledge that we want to share internally with our team leaders, for example. And, you know, I would recommend clients when they really look for external vendor to try, you know, getting maybe some references, or maybe try to test their eligibility. Like, for example, if they are partnering with, you know, some other, let's say, call them big guys over here, like, for example, Amazon, or that was also mentioned here, or Microsoft architecture. Because, you know, that also can tell the client if they already feel experienced enough to not do anything, or they know that experience is something that never ends and you always have to be one step forward. Okay. So this is what we also take a look when it comes to this. And yeah, that's basically it. Really, this is what is, you know, a part of our know-how. I know I have to wrap up, so those are the main things, and I would love to, you know, stay connected with you.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, we have a question from Bruce Kamen, and Bruce is asking about voice technology, and Marcin Novak has jumped in saying that he would like to answer. Marcin Novak, tell us about your voice technology. Tell Bruce about your voice technology.
Okay, I recently had a request to build voice commands to my application for sales managers, because they are always on the move on the car and they're traveling from one agency to other. So they want to build voice commands to start navigation, to look through the sales statistics, and to assign discount budget. So this is one request I see in my personal life. And I have friends from other software company, and they are doing software for data, for contact centers, and they're doing voice bots, and they have a lot of requests. So I think it's a time for voice commands. Thanks.
I hear that Andrew Vitrak-Partika also wants to answer the question about voice. Andrew?
Yes, I would. Yeah, I would be happy to share. So I think, as you probably know, the voice search is also something that is rising, and people are trying to use voice as much as possible. And it's actually something pretty convenient. And, you know, we all dial in using our phones, and then hang on the line for hours and hours. And we've seen that, especially, I guess, at the beginning of COVID, when people were really storming all the helplines across the world. And there have been numerous cases where the national helplines of NHS, or in Poland, the same thing, would just melt down because of the amount of people trying to call in. So at that time, we've actually built an automated assistant that helps answer some questions, or helps you actually self-diagnose, and tells you if you should stay at home, or if you should go visit your doctor, or do anything else. So it's fully possible. People are beginning to learn how to use that. The technology is ready or almost ready, depending on your language. Sometimes it's fairly easy for English because it's so prevalent. It's not that easy for Polish, unfortunately. But it works really well for English, and we have several cases where we can show how well it works.
Christoph Gonchar also wants to jump in on the question on voice. Christoph.
Yes, from a bit different side, but maybe also interesting. So for one of our clients, and in partnership from our client from UK, we've been delivering a solution for oil and gas. And at the start, it was a mobile application, basically allowing you to search for information about different equipment and instrumentation on the oil rigs on the North Sea, mostly. And the idea about the voice there was to actually try to find out a hardware which a person which is on the oil rig physically is capable to use in combination with the software. And there is a quite interesting company called RealWare, and they provide a specialistic device which has all of the certificates which allow them to use them on the oil rigs, because the oil rigs is quite specific place. You actually cannot bring a normal phone there. And yeah, and we actually did a prototype solution which involved implementing a voice commands on top of the mobile application, which allowed to basically navigate through the application. So the idea was basically that the person having the helmet and the special device on his eye, he's able to look at the equipment and then either scan a tag or by the voice commands search for the item and look up for the interesting bit like trend of the pressure or trend of the flow, if there is some fluid flowing through the equipment or stuff like that. So I think in terms of going forward with the digitalization, voice technology will be quite a big thing, and we can also see this in the car industry already, right? So I would say that it's still early stages, especially with different languages, as was mentioned by the previous panelist. But I think in the next couple of years it will grow heavily.
Okay, thank you very much, Christoph. Final question to Jacek Nowak. Coming back to COVID-19, we've seen this week the UK government in all kinds of difficulties because of IT, the failure of IT to solve the track and trace. Tell us, Jacek, how do you see technology helping to solve the COVID crisis?
Well, it does help in many areas, of course, especially banking also benefits from IT solutions to cope with the difficult situations. That help work with the bank remotely, that help opening the new accounts remotely. All sorts of processes in the bank have been rethought. And if you look at the strategy, the bank development strategy, the banks have taken for this or next quarters, there's always a space reserved for kind of COVID initiative projects, which means enabling more and more services online and making sure that business lines that were dependent now on people coming into the branch are being moved into the web applications, into online applications.
Okay, thanks very much, Jacek. Thanks very much, panelists. I'd like to hand back to Steph now for a final wrap up of today's event.
Thank you very much, Michael, and thank you again to all of our panelists and our speakers today. Really, really informative webinar. As we said, we will be following up with everybody with today's presentation slides and contact details of all of our panelists and speakers so that everybody is connected. But thank you again and have a good evening.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.